Right. Abuse is abuse. Making this video, funnily enough, less than 24 hours ago, I was feeling bad about these YouTube videos where I'm actually just documenting my own survival with everything I've been through. Because the same person who has been loving me denies their own abuse of me. And if you can't call a spade, but you can preach the gospel and say, don't say this and don't do that, and we have to celebrate Shabbat. I mean, I only did a viewing yesterday at a flat that's the home of someone that my partner fell out with, someone from South Street Church. His wife, some years ago, when my partner had an awakening before I had my awakening, before we merged, and he was using the name of YAHSHUA. It's Eastbourne, it's a small world. I mean, if I can end up staying in an emergency accommodation in New Haven that's used to be the house that my childhood best friend was born into, well, there you are. But yeah, so I viewed a flat yesterday that's the home of my partner's old friend, acquaintance from a South Street church in town. And it was rather awkward for him because I didn't know they knew each other. He opened the door, he said, "Ah," and he later told me that his wife, some years ago, had phoned Darren, my partner, because he'd apparently upset people in the church because they're used to their churchy indoctrination, false teachings, what do you call it? What's the word that Darren used? Greco-Roman, Anglicized, whatever. Interpretation of the Bible. And well, the word church doesn't mean anything. The word Christian doesn't mean anything. It's all lies within lies. Yes, but since I've been with my partner for 10 years, I learned that Yahweh was the desecrated, his name was desecrated. It had been removed nearly 7,000 times from scripture. So, but what gets me is obviously the hypocrisy, because I've just been hurt again. I'm an amazing survivor. Obviously I've managed to get another solicitor. Well, as I said, people don't survive. I'm supposed to be lying in a ditch. I'm supposed to be long dead. I'm worried because money's running out, and council, the MP, that lot, no one's still acting by law. I was actually telling a woman from one of the letting agents. And also, I find it very strange. I don't know if there's been some sort of gossip. I find it very hard to believe. A woman came up to me. I know her from sitting on the bus, and I know her from the psychiatric unit hellhole. She she's a northern lady, and she sat on the same table as myself and John Alexander Patterson, who was part of the Royal Commission. And as he put it, we were on the intelligent table, and in the canteen in the psychiatric hellhole. And I'm jumping here, by the way. And this woman that came up to me, she had like I said, I know her from sitting on the bus and the psychiatric unit, and we were talking having I was talking to John Patterson and this woman in the psychiatric unit about how Princess Diana was murdered. Now, my mother was interviewed by an American TV crew when we went up to her funeral. It was the most emotional thing, one of the most emotional things I've ever experienced, one of them. But uh, you know, I'm talking about Princess Diana's funeral up in London. But I didn't know that how she died, I didn't know that she'd been, how they killed her. They drove her around in the ambulance, and John Patterson and this woman were trying to explain to me. And this northern woman, she said that her ex-husband used to clean for Dodi Al-Fayed. Did do some sort of construction work or something, I don't know. And she said he had a lovely house and a big swimming pool. But she came up to me the other day and she said, I was in Barwell's. No, first of all, she said to me, your sister, did she go through your dad's stuff? Did she get all your dad's money? Sorry, I'm doing a very bad northern accent. Did she get all your dad's money? I said, how do you know that? And the thing is, obviously, I talk a lot and people gossip. Now, Darren is not being as honest as he could be. So you probably see this. Because he's supposed to be here, by the way. I'm making this video because of my partner. But I'm just diverting here. This northern woman, it does it because it's this. I was very polite, but I was frustrated because she said to me, "I was in Barwell's. I overheard you." I thought, no, she wasn't, because I saw who was in the background, and I knew who was in Barwell's when I was speaking to the woman about my late father's estate and the fact that my sisters went through my father's things without me, which is illegal, and that's what Joanna Standing, the Swan advocate, said. They went through my father's things without me. But she was talking like she knew all my business. I know she said she was there at the law firm. She wasn't. And I just find that very, very odd, because I know that, how can I say this? When it's someone that you've met talking on a bus and in the psychiatric unit, and you're aware of your surroundings, it's very unsettling. She wasn't there. She wasn't at the law firm. So someone will have told her. It's the way she just came up to me in the street in Eastbourne and said, did your sister get all your dad's money? Like that. Like, huh? I said, no. I said, my sisters went through my father's things without me. I didn't tell her that I'd been locked out of SDR living. Now, Now, Darren, I would not be making these videos. I was actually feeling bad. I was actually feeling really, really bad about making these videos. But you keep upsetting me. You keep hurting me. And it is taking the piss. Oh, Yahweh rebuke me. No, 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 no. Yahweh affirm me. Affirm me. Because, as I said, as the title of this video will be, abuse is abuse. You shoving me for no reason. I was just stressed. Oh, that's okay then. But I didn't press charges. Even though I was crying, I'm confused because the victim of emotional abuse is always confused. I promised myself I would never ever go through this ever again. And yet, the turd that I invited to my late mother's funeral went on to physically abuse me, and then I had attempted rape, and I dealt with all of that all on my own. And yet I am beating myself up. I'm doing loving things for you, Darren. I've still got your bag of gifts for you that's over there in the corner. I've moved all the stuff into this hotel. Well, bar all the other suitcases and bits and bobs and whatnot. I am making this video absolutely shattered. You know, you don't have to do things like wash your hair and style your hair and do all the other things. But you haven't even got yourself. Oh yes, I'll get myself scrubbed up. You said yes, and you're like, oh, but I'm so tired. I've been struggling. I'm struggling. You're struggling. There are people in the hotel. I heard them saying, why is no one helping her? And you're making me look like a bit of a dick because I'm saying to the receptionists, they're saying, is this for two people? Yes, it is for two people because my partner said to me, he said, don't worry, we will celebrate because it's your birthday on the 22nd, which is in 3 days' time. And you said to me, it's okay. We'll do a joint birthday thing because my birthday was in March. And you know, you upset me because you called me an idiot when I finally regrouped with you because I was crying because I didn't get a happy birthday text. But I did get a happy birthday text from an ex-boyfriend, but not from my actual partner, Darren. And I put all my love. I've got all these gifts. I'm lugging all this stuff around with me and all this I've been beaten by the police. I've had a lot of concern from the free speech union, and I don't care who, if it is Darren, because it's looking like it to me that he may have encouraged Kelly J. Keane and those funny people to turn funny. But I've had concern from the free speech union for my suicidal state. I got a landlady who was told on the 8th of August last year she could be sent to prison, and then I had to deal with the corrupt bent MP. I'm sorry, Ewan Morrison, but I'm not sorry. You have let me down. You have not done what the law has told you to do. You are a caseworker for the local MP. Your apologies have turned into neglect, illegal neglect. You are not acting for your constituent by law. You're not doing what District Judge Harper has told you to do. You haven't done what you were meant to do for me, which was to look into my storage that was sold by the council. I've been beaten and assaulted by the police for the umpteenth time, sexually assaulted by them as a rape victim, as someone who put someone. Speaking as someone who went to Hove Crown Court and the Saturn Rape Victim Centre in Crawley with PC Dixon and put someone in prison and on a sex offenders register, and then I'm sexually assaulted by the police, and all because and false allegations over a civil matter because I won't call my sister a man, trumped up, not just absolute garbage, absolute nonsense. What you are witnessing with me is happening in the UK. The destruction of the foundation of what our forefathers built. Yeah, it's all been, I was listening to that guy on Sean Atwood as well, that American guy who was born in the UK. My mother travelled the world in the 50s and 60s, my late mother. If and my grandmother lived through 2 world wars, and if they were alive today to see what has been done to me. I've got bail conditions. I was having suicidal thoughts earlier. I had thoughts I'm in a dissociative state. So I've got a transgender sister who told me she's living as a male and that she's disabled. She told me to look at her Facebook message. I didn't know that she messaged me on Facebook. And then I'm being threatened with harassment, saying I'm harassing her. Absolute lies. Absolute lies. She told me she was going to get a mediator. My late mother's flat is going to be sold and all this sort of thing. So there's been a lot of this going on. Because Barwell's and Humphrey and Co., my late father's and my late mother's estate, they're going to hear about this. They're going to know all about this. My last video was about me being threatened by that mad woman, some mad woman called Julia from the homeless charity, for no reason, threatening to sue me when they have withdrawn homeless services from a vulnerable homeless woman. Yeah. But no, it seems to bother my partner more. I'm not saying that the name of our Heavenly Father is not important. There's a part of my brain that thinks, is what Darren doing to me? Is that just like another form of abuse or MK Ultra? Oh, no, 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 because my faith is real and it always has been. And if we are to use the name of Abba Yahuwah, then we're to use the name of Abba Yahuwah, you know? But why does it not concern him more how I'm being treated? Now, he said we were going to spend, Darren, my partner, said we were going to spend his birthday making up for all the birthdays that I haven't had, where I was locked out of my SDR living flat of 4 months on news that my father had died, viciously abused physically, mentally and physically tortured by dangerous thugs, mentally deranged thugs, PC Lyons, PC McCarthy and bald PC Ford, all night long on my birthday in A&E. And then my 40th birthday before that, being abused. I've been abused in the hotels. There's things I wanted to say about another hotel, but I can't say just yet. And also the one that had the illegal immigrants. Oh, because I've also seen on, is it Talk TV on YouTube? There's a woman from New Haven. I grew up in New Haven and Seaford, and she has seen 30% of the hotels in Eastbourne have been used for illegal immigrants, but it's all now blowing up. If you are awake, you will be aware of what has happened in recent days and ongoing. And I've had abuse from the hotels, the council, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. All the institutions, it's all part of the same nonsense. Now, as I said, what is upsetting me is the fact that obviously my partner has gone and said to me, let's celebrate my birthday in 3 days' time with your birthday. And then he said, oh, I've actually got a dental appointment, and my parents have said, come over to Hailsham and you can stay over with me. You can collapse after your appointment and just relax. Is his dental treatment going to be that bad that he needs to collapse in his parents' house? I don't know. But because he's like, oh, I forgot I had this dental appointment. So why say to me, oh, day leading up to his birthday, it's whose birth, what's going to be, what event it's going to be in a few days' time. We can make up for you because obviously he called me an idiot, he screamed and shouted at me, and then he went on to assault me, which is okay because he was stressed. That there's an excuse for it. And now he's not going to. So then he's then said to me, but I can see you in the morning of my birthday on the 22nd, which is in 3 days. Now, last night I was in the other hotel and he was going to, I said, go and get yourself cleaned up and, scrubbed up. I've got you some clothes. No, 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 no. I want to go back to my flat. I don't know why he isn't. He complains that he's living on £7 a day when he could be having a hot bath in the same hotel room that I'm using, that I'm spending thousands of pounds on. But no, 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 he wants to go back to his flat. I'll come to you in the morning. I said I've got to get all this stuff out of here and into the next hotel. I promise you, I'll be with you in the morning. It is now 11, half 11 at night. I've moved all the stuff into this hotel, been made to look like a right dick. I'm starting to hurt very, very deeply, but because of my dissociative state, the dissociative trauma, you know what? I was that angry and upset that I sent him a text message saying that I'm going to sue Care for the Carers. Because my life has been destroyed in this town. I walked all the way up to his flat, which is way, way, way that way. I said, you're taking the PISS. Don't swear. Don't swear. No, Bryony mustn't swear. No, no, I've got to be a good little woman of Yahweh, haven't I? Whilst he excuses assaulting me because of stress and he's tired and it's so difficult for him. I said, well, you go to your mummy and daddy and you tell them how difficult it's been for you, because I still don't fucking know how my father died. I'm completely on my own. I can't even read a text message from my eldest sister because of their abuse and their mental problems. She doesn't love my transgender sister, but she's calling her a man. That really makes sense. And they went through my father's things without me, and she said he didn't want to see me when I can prove on Facebook, I can screenshot the message from my father where he's saying he wants to see me. Yes, exactly. You know what? There is truth in consciousness. I know it's all pagan, these are pagan beliefs, but there is truth in it. Which is why my eldest sister thought that I had psychic powers when I was a child. No, I didn't have psychic powers. I've always had a greater knowing. That's why I've survived as much as I have to date, and why people think I'm younger than I actually am. Because I haven't taken drugs. I haven't allowed the stress to cause cancers and goodness knows what. because I disassociate. I go into that little place, and that's all I'm saying. The elite don't know how to treat dissociative disorders, DID, and yet they create it, don't they? But that's what my transgender sister has been diagnosed with, so she told me when she and her support worker asked me to sit down with them. Yeah, so what exactly is Darren getting up to? Because it was me who found this other solicitor. I sent them the video of that Marion on YouTube. I still want to meet her. And a retired forensic lawyer who on YouTube, I couldn't believe it when I found that video, an illegal eviction scam in Bexhill, and she's saying that Joe Holden is her solicitor and that he's got 16 pages of corruption against him, including sexual harassment, and that he married the 74-year-old victim to make it look good. And you can't sue me for slander because I'm only repeating what another woman on YouTube has said about this solicitor that has abused me and lied, saying that I didn't instruct him. But the funny thing is, I knew that I was waiting for another poor review, and then a few days later, another one was posted about this awful man, and he's as demented as the landlady. And yet, and Ewan Morrison, the MP caseworker, was supposed to. I asked him several times. He's lying to me. He's just a liar. They're liars. Ewan, if you're watching, if you see this, you've had every chance. So have you, Josh Burundi. You won't tell me why you were a victim of my YouTube channel, because you're copying each other, aren't you? You're copying this Julia, this funny woman from the homeless charity. You'd never even met me before, but I let you let the narcissists speak, and they drop themselves in it. You give them a chance to speak, give them a chance to give. They will show you their cards. They will put their cards on the table if you let them. I'd never met Josh Burundi when he was counsellor OBE, and I filled out an online application form. I had been attacked by convicted criminals, and this landlady that's in contempt of court is allegedly, according to her text messages, she didn't reveal it till later. She said, "Oh, Justin." I was like, "Who's Justin?" And then I realised she was talking about Charles Lucas Property Management, because they were the people that managed that halfway house, that council accommodation for convicted criminals. And of course, I quickly learned that people have got nothing better to do than to whip up trouble. This is why I have to keep away from people. This is why other people's mental illness has been my therapy, because I realise that's how you learn. You realise, my gosh, I'm strong. I'm a survivor. I'm surviving this just through. Let's do the British stiff upper lip. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Fine, fine. Just going to go back to having suicidal thoughts of walking off Beachy Head. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Got my cup of tea. Keep calm, carry on. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, I've gone off. I've sort of rambled a bit here, just a bit. But the point that I'm making, this whole video was basically for me to just vent and say, Yeah, my partner is supposed to be here right now. I've got those gifts for him from last year. He left me for months on end. He assaulted me. He made excuses. Ewan Morrison is supposed to have contacted adult social care. Yes. I'll tell you what adult social care are. They are just a construct, another, like the Tavistock Institute. They are think tanks. It's all, they're all just psychopaths. I said that I would report this support worker for swearing at me because I refused to call my sister a man. It wasn't my sister who was being abusive. My transgender sister was not abusive to me. Her support worker swore at me because I wouldn't call her a man. I hugged my sister. She didn't. She was 50 that day. No, it's the day before her 50th birthday. Now, if she was that upset, she would have told me to get off her. She's a grown adult, right? But she didn't. She let me hug her. So, where did this vile, degenerative support worker come from? Because it's her. It's her who's offended, not my transgender sister. It is the support worker. Jealousy, bitterness, got to come into someone else's situation and cause havoc. Excuse me. Now, I would, if my sister didn't want to see me, or if she was really that offended, why did she let me hug her? And why did she say to me, Bryony, I'm going to get a mediator? Which is exactly what I have been trying to do. I've been trying to get a mediator with these psychopaths in the system that don't want to do anything. I've been going to them since, well, particularly since my mother died in 2009. And I haven't been to my late mother's flat since she died in 2009. Yet I've got bail conditions and threats to stay away from my late mother's flat. Now, I am illegally homeless. Now, if my disability is so severe, why? I could read it, but I'm not going to because I really can't be asked. Darren, my partner, forwarded me what his friend Charlie, whom I've had a problem with and I've documented it. Charlie has used an AI app to allegedly, according to Darren, Charlie Burgess has written, and he forwarded me the letter that Charlie Burgess wrote to the House of Commons to my local MP, who has been willfully negligent. I've had willful medical negligence. I've had threats from my doctor's surgery. Dr. Caro was going to write a letter to the council. Dr. Woolhouse said he'd write a letter. Then management were threatening me and elderly Terry from Wetherspoons with police. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because we asked them to contact Ewan Morrison, my MP caseworker, who hasn't looked into why my storage at Rockhurst Drive, which I paid to the council, why they sold it, and I've got so many valuables in that garage. It's a garage. You know when you pay for a garage to the council, well, they sold it. And I found out through Barclays. I tell you what, they're more helpful in Barclays. They've rung adults social care. Yeah, this is a corporate entity. They've been way more helpful than the actual social services. Um, I know. And Ewan Morrison was also supposed to write me an email saying how 3 times he had asked Mr. Holden to contact me, and because each time Mr. Holden, the solicitor, was abusive, he lied to the Solicitors Regulation Authority saying I didn't instruct him, and he was so abusive.
Just you only have to read his online reviews. He's rude, he is abusive, he hangs up, he's demented. And if he sexually harassed a person that he married to make it look good, well, that says everything. But and I got it in writing that he had a legal aid certificate to commit the landlady to prison and to seek damages. So I forwarded this to the new solicitor, and there's been a lot of tears, a lot of stress, a lot of messing around. I've been messed around by so many people. So this is why it's a miracle what I have survived. People just don't survive. Now, Charlie Burgess, the letter that he wrote to the House of Commons to Joshua Burundi, it's saying that I've got a severe disability. It it's not entirely accurate, shall we say, because obviously saying that I have mobility issues, well, that's subjective, isn't it? And it's saying that I have a severe disability, that could also be subjective. But now the thing is, it depends. Now this is where it all gets. They've deliberately, these bastards, have made it difficult for other people who claim PIP, because they've made the questions and the whole thing. It wasn't me that did it. It was the advocate at the food bank. And funnily enough, she said that she thought Darren was abusing me, and she'd never known anyone's partner to be banned from visiting them in the psychiatric unit. So but the thing is, if the psychiatric unit and all these people were so concerned that Darren was abusing me, why did they abuse me then? You see? Narcissists playing with narcissists. It's just, playing, it's one big playing field to them. And that's not that I want to label all these people as narcissists, but that is the behavior that I am. Now, obviously, it's very difficult for me because I've got a conscience. I've behaved in ways that I would never behave in a million years, but that's what stress does to you when you're traumatized. You it's like a bomb going off, you know. Uh, and if you didn't behave that way, there'd be something wrong with you, because it's only natural for a human being to take so many years of narcissistic abuse, to take so much stress, domestic abuse, attempted rape, more abuse, more covert narcissistic, passive aggressive, gentle, oh, well, I lost my mother. You need to pull your socks up and all that sort of thing. And then emotional abuse. So I've had a lot of letdowns. And as I said, I've got my partner's gifts here, and I've moved all the stuff in here. And he wondered why I didn't answer the phone. For one thing, I was lying down because I'm shattered. I've only had a few hours sleep, if that. And even then it's interrupted because of the insomnia. I mean, I had a Dr. Webborn. I've got it in writing that I need a blood transfusion, because he put it in writing, his phone call to me, saying that I had severe anemia because I'd lost a lot of blood. This was shortly after the landlady had illegally locked me out of the house. And then the police are sexually assaulting me and exposing my breasts. And then I get that malicious communications letter, pages long, and that demented man, that disgusting, demented, bald-headed thug on the desk at the Strand Hotel. Apparently, someone's complaining about sexual harassment from him, and I know it's that member of staff, and they're going to the paper about it. So, yeah. Now, if my disability is so acute and so severe as Charlie Burgess, now he's saying he's my friend, and I've known Bryony for some time. I'm her friend, and well, I've said called out his abuse to Darren, because I've said to my partner Darren, I've said Charlie should not. I'm not happy about this letter. I didn't authorise this letter with personal information about me to the local MP, because Charlie was meant to apologise to me in text about his abuse a few years ago at the Eastbourne People's Assembly with a group of other people. And in that text that was meant to be an apology, I said to Darren, he falsely claimed that I shouted and swore at him. And I said, I've never shouted and sworn at you. And he was getting defensive when he was meant to be apologising. I forgive you. He said he was forgiving me for a false claim. This is extremely narcissistic, but it's deluded. And he's written to the local MP saying that I've got a severe disability. Now, in what context is he alluding to me having a severe disability? Because I've proven myself to be actually a very competent, articulate, clued up, intelligent woman. But the disabilities have not been described in that letter. It's just saying that I've got a severe disability. And it could look rather demeaning rather than helpful, because it doesn't say anything about the clutter problem. It doesn't say anything about how one of the landladies threw in other people's shit with my valuables and my very, very beautiful pictures of my grandmother in 1912 that I had specifically polished up, and the other pictures of my mother and my family. How my gold watch, that's my 18th birthday gift watch from Tanya. All these things could have been stolen by that landlady, Felicity and Karen, at 44 Cavendish Place, Eastbourne. This is the council. And Pelican Storage, I'm in arrears paying for storage for them, but Mr. Holden was supposed to help me make a subsequent claim against the council because that I was illegally locked out of my SDR living flat on news of my father's death. And my gold heirloom ring, which is over 100 years old, and it's got my birthstone, aquamarine, in that. It was a 21st birthday present from my late mother. I did not authorise for men to go into my flat and remove my valuables. Who authorised it? Who authorised it? Who said, my needs, do I look like someone whose needs are too complex for staff who are trained to deal with complex needs? Exactly. They are absolutely demented. They are demented. But no, Darren's not concerned about that. So why isn't he and his family going down to the council and saying, why are you not providing Bryony with accommodation? Oh, no. I've just moved all the stuff into this hotel room, even though I'm severely anemic. And I've got it in writing that I need a blood transfusion, or it could have life-threatening effects and medical words that I can't say because I don't understand them. And I've moved all the stuff in here, and Darren is struggling Oh, yes, sorry, my disability is so severe, but I've moved all the stuff in here by myself and I've got mobility issues. Why is Charlie Burgess saying in a letter to the House of Commons to Joshua Burundi that I've also got mobility problems and I've moved all the stuff in here and the staff in the bloody hotel are saying, why is no one helping her? Is this for booking for two people? Yes, it's meant to be. My partner is supposed to be here with me. Yeah, he really, really cares. I tell you what, and this landlady who should end up in prison, Alice Victoria Scott of 3 Bedford Well Road, Eastbourne, should end up in prison. Yes, absolutely. Do you know what? For all the suffering that they've caused me, I actually felt guilt because I've got a thing called a conscience. So when District Judge Harper said to her on the 8th of August last year, you do realise I could send you to prison, because of my that thing called a conscience, I felt a little bit bad. Yes. In the same way I felt a little bit bad that the man who attempted to rape me was sent to prison for 2 years. But the police know that they've beaten me. And then PC Hall is trying to, along with the coastal guards, trying to talk me out of suicide. But you know what? I've just been up to Darren's flat, and he's supposed to be here with me, helping me with my severe disability and my mobility. I did paid care work 20 years ago. I've never worked so hard in my bloody life since I've been on PIP. This is the joke. I'm spending thousands of pounds on the hotels, and Darren is supposed to be here with me. And I'm like, will you tell your mummy and daddy, you're going to be 56, tell them how hard it's been for you. And I'm completely on my own. I've got no friends, no family. I'm doing all of this on my own. I got I got this solicitor from this other law firm to mess me around and then say, oh, we're going to, they said they had capacity and then they said they didn't. And then I was in tears. And then they were like, oh, well, we'll make an exception for you. Yeah, saving face. They've assigned me a caseworker. I've still got to finish my email to the Free Speech Union. They need to know how extremely vulnerable I am because I went up to Darren's flat and I said, you're taking the piss, aren't you? No, 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 don't say that. Don't say that. So much for Shalom Shabbat Yahweh. So I'm like, well, leave me to get ready. And he closed the door on me. And he's a man of Yahweh. And this flat that I've just viewed, Darren was complaining about the woman from the letting agent. Well, never mind about her, because I had good news the other day. I was going to get into a flat in Old Town, but then the landlord was apparently a bit impatient. I'm barely sleeping. I'm barely functioning. I've got the lighthouse practice. They are complicit in the medical negligence. So Charlie Burgess is right. This is a form of manslaughter because I I said to Darren a few hours ago when I walked up to his flat, I said to him, you know, I'm in that much of a disassociative state. And I've said it a million times before and I'll say it a million times over. I could just walk off those cliffs with everything that I'm hearing, that I know, that I'm aware of, on top of this abuse. There we go. And don't, and I tell you what, anyone who knows me, and that does include my godmother, anybody, don't look at this and think, oh,
because my godmother was like, why? She said to me a few years ago, why else would your partner be with you unless it's to abuse you? That's a nice thing to say. She was so nasty to me. The things she said when my mother died. But one of those things was what Sue Pocklington from Humphrey and Co. said, and also what Darren's mother said, which is, well, my mother died. Look at you, you're living like a child and putting me down. And so don't look at this and think, Bryony's being abused by Darren. Oh, yeah, we all knew that she'd be abused. People are always abusing her. No, go and take a good look in the mirror, because you all know what you've done. Each and every one of you. And no, I do not feel bad about this video. I need to remember my pain and my survival. That does not, and I must not beat myself up, because that does not mean that I am not humble before Abba YAHSHUA. He knows. If there is a judgment that's coming, a book of this big book of life that has all our names in it, and the great white throne of judgment, if all of that is true, it's not going to matter anyway, because nothing changes my conscience. I know that I'm a sinner. I know that everyone else is a sinner. So whether either way, I do not need to beat myself up. But Darren, you know what you're doing. And if you really wanted to be with me right now, you'd be here. There you go. The phone is ringing.